Is the NATO showing moral wounds, and is the United Nations drifting deeper into a coma because of Greenland, a single island in the Arctic? It has triggered a transatlantic standoff that now threatens trade, military cooperation, and the very idea of collective security between the United States and NATO. To put it simply, American President Donald Trump has turned Greenland into a pressure point, and Europe appears to be scrambling to contain the fallout. Trump has threatened tariffs on European allies over Greenland, tying trade penalties to his demand to take over the island. He has repeated his claim that Denmark has failed to counter a Russian threat there. The US president has used that argument to justify American control, while insisting that Europe cannot secure Greenland on its own. Denmark and 7 other countries, European countries, they've recently increased their military presence in Greenland to calm security fears. Instead, this move has provoked a tariff threat. Trump said that he would impose a 10% levy on goods from these 8 countries until they agree to a deal for Greenland's purchase. Amid this threat of military expansion, according to German media reports, a group of 15 German soldiers have now returned early from Greenland after joining a European mission there to bolster the Arctic security. Trump's tariff threat also triggered an emergency meeting of the European Union ambassadors. These envoys agreed to intensify efforts to dissuade Washington while preparing retaliation if duties proceed. French President Emmanuel Macron has urged the EU to activate its never-used anti-coercion instrument, also known as a trade bazooka. It could restrict access to public tenders, investments, banking activity, or services trade. EU leaders also weigh a tariff package worth $107 billion on US imports. Germany, meanwhile, has pledged countermeasures against further American tariffs as well. That includes counter tariffs and further economic policy measures if necessary. Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, on the other hand, has called Donald Trump's tariff threat, quote-unquote, completely wrong, warning that a trade war helps no one and signaling that the UK will not pursue retaliation.
Alliances endure because they're built on respect and partnership, not pressure. That is why I said the use of tariffs against allies is completely wrong. It is not the right way to resolve differences within an alliance. Nor is it helpful to frame efforts to strengthen Greenland's security as a justification for economic pressure.
While Denmark's Prime Minister has said that Europe will not be blackmailed after emergency calls with European leaders, while Greenland's Prime Minister has said that the country would not be pressured, further saying that the island would continue to pursue dialogue in the wake of Trump's threats to take over Greenland. EU's spokesperson, on the other hand, said that the Union is engaging with the United States over Greenland but will respond to protect economic interests. And in the latest, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has said that Europe wants to avoid any escalation with the US over Greenland. There are also reports that Germany may raise the rent that America pays to use military facilities on its soil. While Berlin does not plan to close American bases, it could make the American presence there costlier. The United States Army, remember, operates more than 40 installations in Germany, including the Ramstein Air Base, home to NATO's Allied Air Command. According to The Economist, the European Union is further contemplating the threat of eliminating US military bases on its territory to pressure America over the future of Greenland. Analysts warn that Washington would struggle to project power into Africa and West Asia without access to European hubs like Ramstein. That possibility perhaps exposes NATO's moral fracture. Allies bargaining over territory, trade, and troop access instead of standing united. And where is the United Nations in all of this? Well, it has so far only expressed concerns over Donald Trump's Greenland ambitions. No actions, no sanctions, no use of its authority. Remember, Washington had only recently announced withdrawals from dozens of international bodies tied to it. Trump even signed an executive order suspending American support for 66 international organizations, agencies, and commissions after a review of funding and participation. So the message is perhaps clear. NATO bleeds credibility. The UN lies in coma, and the world, particularly Europe, watches a superpower turn tariffs into geopolitics over a frozen island which is fast melting.